Pauline, let's talk about your favourite ABC. They've not apologised and have not pulled that Gina Rinehart skit, should they?
In this video, you are about to discover how Pauline Hanson turned a single ugly scandal into a masterclass in political survival. I have a favour to ask. If you are not subscribed to the channel yet, please take a second to do that now. You done? Thank you so much. Now let us continue.
Yeah. Of course they should. And I'm disgusted with our Prime Minister who hasn't called it out and told them to pull it down. We fund them to the tune of $1.3 billion a year. To say it's satirical is a load of rubbish and a cover-up. And I'm sick of their attitude to conservative side of politics. They can't be, up front, they can't tell the truth, they're not fair and balanced, and that's why I said I want to get rid of the ABC. Let it go subscription. Let's see how good they are, how many people would sign up to them. You need fair and balanced in your programs, and the same as News 24. You open it up to everyone to have their say on your programs, which is great, and that's how news should be presented to the people, not the biased, aggressive reporting, and it was disgusting, absolutely disgusting what they allowed and still up there to say about Gina Rinehart. Or any Australian for that matter, regardless of whether it's Gina Rinehart, any Australian.
Yeah, so you'd feel the same if the skit was about Anthony Albanese. I just wonder what you feel about, comedy, satirical, the right to offend as being an essential element of free speech. Does it have its limits? And where's that line?
Well, it is. Look, we actually do that ourselves in my own cartoons. Pauline Hanson's Please Explain cartoons.
Yes, I didn't think of that.
So we know when. Correct. We know when to pull back.
Right.
And what is the message, what is funny, what is it. So I do it myself. So I know there's a fine line out there, but they've passed it, right? And that's why they're so left-leaning, full of these aggression progressives in the ABC that have destroyed the ABC that it used to be, that I grew up with, and it was a proud organisation. It's no longer that, Laura, and it needs to go. They need to actually have their legs cut out from underneath them, take the funding away from them. And I call on the Prime Minister and every other minister, Penny Wong, the whole lot of you, you actually need to go to the ABC and Keith Williams and you tell him, get rid of that rubbish that's online.
We'll see. You have accepted a $1 million donation from Gina Rinehart. In fact, you were very upfront about it. We saw social media posts and where that money went.
Yeah.
You've been critical of the Prime Minister over his fundraising dinner with Felix Lee. What is your objection there? Is it the lack of transparency or the source of the money?
Laura, I had the cameras there and everyone, and I said, this is what I've been given the plane by Gina Rinehart, and I've been upfront and putting out there what I get. I'm upfront with the people. He couldn't even tell you, oh, I don't even know who owns the house. I was just invited to this dinner. Everything that he does, it's a cover-up or he lies to the Australian people. What's your problem? Why don't you explain to people what you get from the unions as well? So your backdoor handouts that you get from the unions, these other organisations, what about Pratt, what about Lindsay Fox, all these other organisations. I feel that I am under the microscope a lot more than any other political party or leader. They've got away with this for years. So hopefully, putting the spotlight on me, I hope the media takes note and puts more of the spotlight onto these other political parties, and let's be fair right across the board. I've always been upfront and honest with the Australian people. I will continue to do so. I expect the same out of our other leaders, and I expect the media to hold them more to account as well.
Well, on that note, I want to ask you about Malcolm Roberts, because he's been on Carl Stefanovic's podcast talking about chemtrails. He's praised Alex Jones in recent times. Is it fair of me to ask if he would sit in any cabinet of yours or have a national security portfolio?
Look, Malcolm Roberts has done a fantastic job, and as my colleague for the last 10 years, I hear a lot of praise about him by many people as I travel across the country. Malcolm has never supported the chemtrails. You've got to understand Malcolm Roberts is always that scientist that comes out of him, and I want to see the data. Everything that he talks about, show me the data. He's never supported the chemtrails. We've spoken about it many times. We get a lot of people contacting our officers and talking about chemtrails, and he said to me, and he says to them, show me the evidence. So, you know, prove to me and show me the evidence. That's Malcolm Roberts. It's, and that Alex Jones, there was I think there was only one thing. In general, I don't understand what you're going on about the media, because there was only one aspect of that. And Malcolm doesn't have a chance to actually explain himself at all properly. So
have you asked
I think
him
some
to
of it's
explain
been
that? Because
unfair,
supporting
what's
Alex
been directed
Jones,
at Malcolm Roberts.
Yeah, fair enough. But Alex Jones was, you know, he denied that Sandy Hook even happened as a big conspiracy theory. So I think that might concern a few people.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I haven't had a real long talk, because I have been away to actually sit down and talk to Malcolm, which I'll speak to him next week about it. But there's a lot that's been thrown out there. That Alex Jones, he doesn't support, I think it was, Laura, it's only what I've seen, it was only one aspect of something that I've said, but you've blown it completely out of proportion, that he supports everything that Alex Jones has said, which is not the case.
No, but you want to know whether he supports Alex Jones on whether that conspiracy whether he believes Sandy Hook was a conspiracy theory. So I'm not trying to blow it out of proportion. Just like, surely you'd be wanting to know whether Malcolm Roberts thinks that's right.
Yeah. There's a few issues here that have been raised, brought to my attention, and until I can sit down and have a talk with Malcolm next week with regards to it, to get to the bottom of the matter, I will do that next week when we're in Canberra.
All right. I want to finish on this. This is Chris Minns.
We're going to build 8,500 new homes for Sydney. It's going to be beautiful. Tell me when. Rolling. Sydney needs more homes, and here's where thousands of them will go. And I am the greatest golfer. Par 5, one of the greatest golfers.
That is Chris Minns doing his best Donald Trump. What do you think of Chris Minns and his Trump impersonation?
Well, that's the first I've heard of it down the line, so it was very hard to get it. Chris, stick to being Chris Minns, OK? No one can take off Donald Trump. I tell you what, no, I take it back. The only one that could was Tina McQueen's grandson. God, he's good. He's really good, and he's only about 12. But anyway, Chris Minns, stick to being Chris Minns. There's only one Donald Trump.
Pauline Hanson doesn't want to have a crack at doing a Donald Trump impersonation?
I know my limitations, Laura, and I know when to stop.
OK.
Picture the ABC broadcasting a skit about Gina Rinehart so graphic that even hardened political veterans winced. Hanson did not just wince, she went on the attack, calling it disgusting and demanding Anthony Albanese publicly condemn it. Her question was simple and brutal. Why are taxpayers handing over $1.3 billion a year to an organisation that thinks this is entertainment? When the ABC hid behind the word satirical, Hanson called it what she believed it truly was, a cover-up dressed in a costume. But here is where it gets interesting, because Hanson did not stop at outrage. She used it as ammunition. She painted the ABC as an organisation that has drifted far from the balanced broadcaster she grew up with, and floated a genuinely provocative solution: strip the funding and let it survive on subscriptions. Suddenly, it's not just a scandal, it's a referendum on whether taxpayer media should exist at all. Now, let us pivot, because irony was about to knock on her own door. Hanson accepted $1 million from Gina Rinehart and flew on Rinehart's private plane, the very same woman the ABC had just mocked. Instead of dodging, Hanson leaned in, declaring herself fully transparent, then flipped the spotlight onto Albanese's own fundraising dinners, asking why nobody seemed to know who even owned the house he dined in. It's a bit like a boxer taking a punch and using the momentum to land 3 of her own. Transparency became her shield and her weapon in the same breath. Then came Malcolm Roberts and his chemtrail baggage. Hanson did not throw her ally under the bus, but she did not defend every word either. She drew a precise line, insisting Roberts wants data and evidence, not blind conspiracy, while quietly promising to hash things out with him back in Canberra. Careful, calculated, and just vague enough to avoid guilt by association. And just when you think the tension can't climb higher, Chris Minns shows up doing a Trump impression. Hanson's response? A snort, a smirk, and the suggestion he stick to being himself, because apparently only Tina Turner's grandson has the swagger to pull off that act. It's a small moment, but it reveals everything about her brand. Substance over spectacle, always. Across every single one of these moments, one thread holds firm. Hanson positions herself as the truth-teller standing against a rigged system, while carefully managing exactly what truth gets told. I appreciate you for taking time to watch this. Stay safe, and let's make this nation a better place. Leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below.